Can you change someone who doesn't want to change? The answer is yes. However, to change someone who doesn't want to change, you must find something called what? Leverage. Leverage is what makes change go from a should to a must. See, write this down if you would. Change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation. Or another word for that is drive or reasons. I'll say it again. Change is never a matter of ability. Anyone can change. It's always a matter of motivation or drive, or another word for it would be reasons. I remember I was doing work one time with a woman and she was very health oriented. She was a colon hydrotherapist, but she was very ill. And part of it is you can make yourself ill no matter what you eat, no matter what you do, if you do enough in your head that makes you feel sick. And she was a major worrier all the time. And I remember I was talking to her and I was trying to help her. We were doing an intervention and I was trying to help her find the way to get to make the changes that were necessary. And she knew what she needed to do. Have you ever felt this way? How many of you have an area where you know what you need to do, but you're not effing doing it? Who can relate here? Say I. So the only reason you're not doing it is you don't have strong enough reasons. It's because whatever you're doing that's not good meets some of your needs for certainty or significance or variety or connection. You learned that the other day, right? You can meet your needs in negative ways. But the reason you want to change is it doesn't meet all your needs, like let's say growth or contribution or love. So in order to create change, we need more reasons to push us over the edge. So if you want to make a shift, you got to make it a must. And so the goal is make it a must. And that's why I said to them, anyone can change. It's not a matter of ability, it's a matter of motivation. We have to find what's going to motivate them, what's going to put the leverage, what's going to make change a must for them. Now change happens in seconds. People say, no, it takes forever to change. It might take you forever to make the decision where you finally say, enough of this, not another moment, not another day. Who's been in a relationship way too long? Who stayed in a relationship way too long? Say I. You knew it was wrong. You knew it wasn't good for them. You knew it wasn't good for you. Why'd you stay? You stayed because it met some of your needs. Well, at least, even though it's not great, it's what you know. It's certainty. Certainty has a certain level of comfort to it, right? It might have been, you imagined it being better. There's so many ways that you can duck change. But it's not a matter of ability. If there's a strong enough reason, you will do it. So one of the ways people avoid change, listen to me now, is wherever they're experiencing pain that would give you leverage to change, they exit that time frame. Have you ever wondered how someone could go to a doctor, they're told they have lung cancer, they smoke, and the doctor says, if you don't stop smoking, you're gonna die, and they keep smoking. You would think that would be enough leverage for some people, but some people that still won't do it. Do you know why? Because their brain goes, well, George Burns smoked until he was 102 years old. And they say, because no one knows the future, so you can make it up. Or they escape the leverage by saying, well, I've smoked in the past and I was okay. We've all had moments of change. Who's had a relationship like that and you finally got to a point where you said, no more, not another moment, I'm out of here. It was painful in the past, it's painful in the present, it's painful in the future, it's over. Who's done this? Say I. When you link pain to the past, present, and future, there's no escape. And so you change. How many got something that needs to change that has not? Then you don't have enough leverage. And you have to use pain judiciously, just a short burst to break the pattern. I'll give you an example. How many of you have had a certain food or a certain alcohol or a certain dessert that you loved until one day when you had an experience where what you consumed came out of you in multiple locations. And as a result, this food, this particular alcohol, this particular dessert that you used to love, you have no desire for it. It doesn't take willpower. You have no desire. It almost makes you sick to think of it. Well, guess what? You changed in a moment. How did the change happen? All that happened in that moment is your brain changed what it associated in your nervous system. It's a technical term, it's called neuroassociation. It just means your brain linked pain to what it used to link pleasure to. And when you link enough pain to something, your brain will avoid it at all costs. If you link enough pleasure, your brain's gonna go for it. The bottom line is, what happens to us can be horrific, but what really controls us is the meaning. Have you gotten that now? So no matter how horrific the experience we've all been through, and there's a lot of horrific experiences we'll go through in our lives, we gotta know that we can heal any of those as long as we can find a greater meaning. Somehow that makes us stronger, makes us care more, makes us give more, and the meaning is the power. Change the meaning, you change your life. We are not our biography. We are the decisions we make about what things mean and what we're gonna do about it. I usually will turn on the TV in the background, put some old movie or some news or something on. I see this black and white movie called A Christmas Carol, the Dickens classic. And as I started to watch, I saw that movie through different eyes. Because what is the Christmas Carol about? You all know the story, right? And the main character who didn't want to change. Scrooge is this man who doesn't want to change. And he thinks he's successful because he's mean. Because he had a partner he loved who died, and then he was angry. He thought he may have cheated him. And so he decided to hate the world. And he's very financially successful. He thinks it's because he's mean. Many times in life, we do things and we think they contribute to our success or failure and it has nothing to do with it. What makes you believe something? If you're in a relationship and it's so loving and it is so passionate, it's the greatest relationship you've ever had, and then boom, it ends brutally, painfully. What is your brain gonna do? It never wants to feel this way again. So it's gonna quickly make up a meaning, a guardrail to protect you. But see, the wall that protects you also imprisons you. So if you're in this great relationship and it ends painfully, your brain's gonna wanna never do that again, so it'll come up with a belief, it'll make one up. Relationships are painful. Don't ever get that close again. And guess what? It'll work on the surface, but then they'll be in pain the rest of their life because they'll never have a deep relationship. Who gets it? Or the belief could be, that's how men are, or that's how women are, or Germans are, or Americans are, or French are. All the generalizations, remember our brains generalize, they distort and delete. If we don't think clearly, our survivor mind will put us in prison. And so what we want to do is free ourselves. But to free ourselves, we've got to break those associations. We got to go, no, it wasn't men, it wasn't relationship, it was the way we interacted, it was we had different values. But how many have experiences where you made up a meaning probably worse than it was? Make some noise if you think you've done this, ladies and gentlemen, right? So at that night, I'm watching this film. And I'm watching from a different set of eyes, and I'm going, this is the game plan for lasting change. Because this man does not want to change under any circumstances, because he knows being mean has made him rich, he thinks. It's not true, but he thinks it, so he keeps doing it. We do whatever we believe. In our own life, the only way you end and have peace is you free yourself from those limiting meanings. So I'm watching this and going, wow, this guy didn't want to change, and he changed that fast. How did it happen? 3 neuroassociative conditioning specialists showed up at his house. 3 ghosts. And what those ghosts do, they got him to associate massive amounts of what? Of what? Pain to all that had done in the past related to that. But then when he thought he couldn't handle it anymore, they brought him to the present and gave him unbelievable pain in the present. And then he thought he was done, and they took him all the way to the future, all the way to the moment of his death, and put him in eternal pain, he thought. And then he woke up and realized, I can change it all right now. And how fast did he change, my friends? How fast? How fast? In a heartbeat. But it's because he had pain in the past, the present, and the future. There was no place to escape. The leverage is there. If I put a wall here, here, and here, and the one behind, I start to close them, magically you'll move that direction. So we want to do that for ourselves. We want to free ourselves. Who's up for that? Say I. How many of you can think of something you struggled with for years? It might have been a problem in a relationship, might have been your body, it might have been smoking, it might have been something in your work. You struggled and you said you were going to change and you didn't change it, and you were mad at yourself maybe, or frustrated with yourself, and you tried again and didn't do it, until one day, finally, something inside you clicked and you said, not another day, not another hour, and you changed it. Let me give you my definition of a breakthrough. It's a moment in time when everything changes. When what seemed impossible becomes truly possible, and most importantly, you act on it. It's not just a thought, you do something with it. If we want to have a breakthrough, and the answer is it can be triggered by all kinds of things. It can be triggered by a conversation with a friend. It can be triggered by loss. It could come from having a new experience. I can think of some times in my life where I didn't even think was possible, and then I got around people who are living life so much better than I was, and I saw what was possible, and it triggered me to start to think what's possible. It started me on transformation towards a breakthrough. A new challenge can make you break through because it's so difficult, you have to break through. A new emotion can break you through. It can be pissed off or excited. There's 3 keys to a breakthrough. They all start with S. And the first one that most people start on, if there's something they want to change, something they don't like, they first work on a strategy. What they want to know is they want to know, how do I do this? How do I lose this weight? How do I make this money? How do I turn around my relationship? How do I shift myself emotionally? But when you start with strategy, you've made a huge mistake. What happens is, I call it really the tyranny of how. You don't want to get into the tyranny of how. If you're making 5% on your money, you're doubling your money every 14 years. If you're making 9% every 8 years. When you're doing 20%, now you're doubling your money every 3 years. So I believe in strategies. I'm filled with strategies. But when you start with a strategy, you've made a mistake, because if you've never done something before and you start with how, it's overwhelming because you don't have an experience. You're like, I don't know how, I've never done this before. And even if someone shows it to you, often it won't work. Let me give you an example. Over 70% of America is overweight. The fastest growing group, by the way, of overweight people is people overweight by 100 pounds or more. That's the fastest growing group. Now, why are we so overweight? Is it because the strategies for being fit and healthy are so complex that only the wisest and smartest people can figure it out? How far would you have to go from where you are right now in your home or office to find someone who could help you lose weight, get fit, get strong? Most of you, it's within 10 or 15 minutes. In fact, many of you could hire someone to show up at your house, or you don't have any money, you could download a series of books or articles or examples. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have the wrong strategy, it's going to be terrible. For example, about 15 years ago, the cover of Time magazine was the Atkins diet. Supposedly 14% of Americans were on this one diet. And it was very effective initially, because you're eating this real high level of protein and you have this acid in your body. And you ought to know that if you have to pee on a stick because you're so acidic and your breath smells that bad, this might not be the best approach to doing this in a sustainable way. And of course, you reduce your calories, you put a lot of acid, you peed a lot, you lost a lot of weight. It didn't last, it didn't work. It's a terrible strategy. But you can't start there because it gets overwhelming and you don't even believe it. Because I'll say to someone, okay, let me show you the strategy so you get fit and healthy. Let me show you the strategy to go from broke to financially secure to financially free. And someone who's never done it before won't even see it. They go, oh, I've already tried that. Really? How many times? How many different ways? How many different approaches? But what they'll say usually is, I've tried everything. Or they'll say, I can't find a relationship, all the good ones are gone, or whatever. The real challenge for breaking through usually is that we have the second element, a story that gets in the way. Because our story is nothing but a set of beliefs we tell ourselves over and over again. Some of you are in a really tough place. Some of you are in a great place. You just want to do better. Some are in a tough place. If you're really in a tough place, I can promise you, I've spent my life dealing with people in the worst situations in life. And there's some people who've they've lost their sight, they've lost their arms, they've lost their family, and they have the most joyous, happy, amazing, extraordinary life. It is not life that controls you. What controls us is the life you focus on. In fact, jot this down if you would. Write down, I'm not experiencing life. I'm experiencing the life I focus on. Because whatever you focus on is real to you, it becomes your story. But when your story is, I've tried everything, then you don't even try anymore. You can have the answer right in front of you and not see it. I'll give you an example of storytelling. I remember when I was a kid, I don't know if you ever had experience like this. We were really poor and I worked hard and I had to go to the store, get the groceries on my bike, bring it, make the meal, put it down. I finally sit down to eat and my mom or dad would say, get me the salt. And I'm starving, I'm just starting to eat. So I go, I don't know where the salt is. I was not lying. I didn't know the exact GPS location of the salt. And they say, you know where the salt is, get the salt. I was like, I don't know what it is, get the salt. I don't know, go get the salt. So I get up and what am I saying? I don't know what the salt is, I don't know what the salt is. And I'm opening the cupboard and they go, it's on the second shelf. I don't know where the salt is. I look, I go, it's not here. It's not there. My dad walks right beside me, reaches right in front of my face and goes, what is this? Well, I was telling myself a story over and over again. I don't know what the salt is. And so my eyes saw the salt, but my brain didn't perceive it. It created in psychology what's called a scotoma, a blind spot. You'll never use the right strategy if you have a limiting story. Your story says nothing works, so when I show you the strategy, oh, I've tried that, or, nothing like that works. That works for rich people. The story is the glue that gets you stuck. What you want to do is divorce the story of your limits, of your limitations, and marry the truth of your real abilities. Now, some people get a divorce and then they go visit with their divorced one over and over. Don't want to visit with your old beliefs. You just want to cut it off and move forward. Now, if you got the right story, you'll figure out the right strategy. Even if I don't show it to you, you'll find the right strategy with the right story. But your story is affected by what you should be starting with, and most people get to last, if ever. Change your story, change your life. If your story is, man, I'm always at the bottom of the pile and I try everything and nothing ever works and I've been through this and that, it may be true, but that's the wrong story. The better story is, I've gone through all these experiences that have made me stronger and now I'm ready. I'm ready for the next step. Here's what I'm gonna do. And that is your state, your mental, emotional state. You gotta get yourself in state. If you've ever been at home and you're like this, you're like, oh man, I know, I gotta figure this out. I gotta turn my life around. I'm like, oh man. In this state, you will never get the answer. When you're in a great state, things flow. Now you can change your state, the way your mind and emotion is working. That's where you want to start. You want to change this order. If I can get you in a radically different state, like you see we do in the seminars, and we're going full tilt for 12 hours a day, and most people wouldn't sit for a 3-hour movie someone spent $300 million on, and now we got 20,000 people in a stadium or 40,000 people around the earth digitally, and we're all going for it, and everybody's giving their all. In that energized state, now we can create a new belief or a new story. Now when I show you what to do, you'll do it. The state you're in affects your story. If you got the right story and you're in the right state, you have a different story about your life. You then come up with the answers, the strategies.